The recent news of the Acolyte's cancellation has caused a stir online, and it sent its fans into a frenzy trying to get the show saved.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth?
No.
But is there any chance it could be rescued from the bin at Lucasfilm, or is it all just a giant waste of time? There's certainly a lot of it to unpack here, and potentially more to it than meets the eye. So dust off your old Sith robes and hold on tight as we dive deep into the Acolyte's cancellation, and if it can really be saved.
That's the path to the dark side.
Semantics.
Before we jump in, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoy it, and if you want to catch more of our Star Wars videos, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, now with all that out of the way, let's get into the latest with the Acolyte.
Sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
To completely understand what's been going on, we first need to take things back to the beginning, back when Lucasfilm announced the Acolyte show at a 2020 investor call. It was initially met with a lot of excitement. It was said to be a Sith-led show that explored the inner workings of the dark side religion, but what's more, it was also coming in with a high budget, which had fans excited for the quality they could expect. But before too long, the project itself was being called woke, trash, and really any name under the sun, with some fans out there even going as far to say it was destroying Star Wars, all before a single episode had been released. And in the days leading up to the premiere, the show was review bombed online, with accounts even at one point review bombing a fan film that released over a decade ago, all because it shared the same name. And then came a group of content creators that are known online for being overly negative and critical of pretty much any new movie or TV show that's released, both inside Star Wars and out, while others jumped on the bandwagon after seeing the type of numbers those type of videos pulled in. Like they say, you can't judge a book by its cover, so you can't judge a movie or a TV show until you've watched it yourself. Anyways, around a month after the show's season finale premiered, a report unexpectedly surfaced online that the show had been cancelled. This came as not only a surprise to its fans and critics, but also to most of the cast and crew as well. It's worth noting here that although only one season of the show was ever officially greenlit, the showrunner certainly had more in mind, which we can see reflected in the story, with quite a lot left to still be wrapped up. In fact, word on the street was that they were actually assembling a writer's room for the show's second season.
I need you to help me find someone.
Who?
So what suddenly changed? Well, we'll come on to that in a moment. But since the cancellation, some very important information has come to light. From Lucasfilm's perspective, and of course they're a business, the show was cancelled due to low viewership numbers, which also saw a significant drop-off after the double episode premiere on week 1, which certainly isn't what they were hoping for when the show cost a staggering $630,000 per minute of screen time, which is just an insane amount of money when you think about it, even in the context of Star Wars when you compare it to a show like The Mandalorian, which cost almost half the amount, whilst it's consistently performed well across all 3 of its seasons. So whether you're a business or like me, an average fan going about your day, we don't like to lose anything, whether it's your bag, your keys, or your wallet. But don't worry, we've got you covered. This is the aluminium card holder from X-Star, the brand known for inventing the first trackable wallet. They're now on a mission to free up how we move through the world while leaving the smallest impact on the world itself. They're also the sponsors of this video. Guys, I know all too well how frustrating it can be to lose your wallet, especially at this time of year, when we're all out and about, going to the theatre, visiting a con, or just going for a social with your mates. If you lose an essential, you're usually at the mercy of a kind-hearted soul handing it in for you. That's why Extra have developed a sleek, sustainable replacement for the conventional wallet. Not only is it made from space-grade aluminium, with the ability to hold up to 12 cards and cash, all while being around half the size of a conventional wallet, but it also blocks RFID wireless theft, giving you the peace of mind that your card details will be safe and secure wherever you are. But what's more, Extra have also launched their new upgraded version called the Card Holder Pro. With an all-new ergonomic shape, it has the ability to hold up to 14 cards, and it features a metal card ejector trigger. So on this model, there is no use of plastic whatsoever. And let's not forget the cool part here, guys, the add-on ecosystem. Whether you want to add on the cash clip backplate, which is my personal choice, or the new Finder card, which is literally the size of a credit card and integrates seamlessly with Apple's Find My app, you'll be covered. If you misplace your Finder card anywhere in the world, not only will you receive a notification from your phone the moment you move too far away from it, but you'll also be able to pinpoint its exact location with the global Apple Find My network. So if you're ready for better gear for life on the go, head down to the link in the description where they're currently having a 25% off summer sale. And as you're part of our community here, make sure to use the promo code JustStarWars for an additional discount on top of any web sales. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Truth is, viewership numbers for Disney Plus Star Wars shows have been on a downward trend in recent years, reasons that are external to the Acolyte show. So if the views were never really there in the first place, a significant drop off after episode 2 certainly didn't help.
Stop talking.
Which, to be fair, you can put down to the start of the season not piquing enough people's interests to tune in again the following week, but sometimes some of the best shows out there do get off to a slow start. Anyways, the numbers the show pulled in over the course of the rest of the season pretty much continued on that downwards trajectory, despite the show's strongest episodes, in my opinion, happening in the middle, before they peaked up slightly for the season finale.
What is that?
Anyways, the cancellation led to fans of the show pinning some of the blame onto the excessive negativity generated online before the show had even released, and the platforms that were dedicated to covering the show in a negative light, despite their owners apparently looking forward to the show's conclusion, many of which are still talking about it now, and there's no denying it. This negativity certainly impacted the Acolyte's initial numbers to some degree, but by just how much we'll never really know. But really, for the casual viewer who just wants to sit back and relax on their hard-earned Saturday night off, they aren't going to waste their time checking out a show they're expecting to already be bad. Even the merch for the show has been review bombed at this point in time.
That's the path to the dark side.
Semantics.
Now, despite all of the noise and numbers attached to the show, and going back to what suddenly changed with their plans for a second season, what caught people by surprise the most was the speed in which it was completely off the table, which could actually point to something else going on behind the scenes entirely. You see, Andor, which up until The Acolyte had the lowest viewing numbers of any Star Wars show on Disney+, but as part of the agreement with the showrunner on season 1, there was always going to be a season 2, which I think will fare much better as a lot of good word of mouth has spread about the show since then. But then you have Ahsoka, one of my personal favourites, which was created by Lucasfilm's own Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni, and it took 3 months after its season finale for that show's second season to be greenlit. Those upstairs were waiting for the end of the year numbers before making a decision.
I choose to live.
So why didn't The Acolyte get the same treatment, and why was news of the cancellation allowed to leak out in the first place? It's important to remember here a second season was never officially greenlit to begin with, so this almost feels like a statement from Lucasfilm's source. After all, the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan Kenobi shows were both also rumoured to be getting second seasons. However, that didn't happen, and it remained silent on them fronts ever since. It seems like they wanted to publicly cut ties with The Acolyte as a brand, and possibly even Leslie Headland herself, and what more effective way to do that than to put a pin in her project. And with it being revealed that Lucasfilm actually wanted Keanu Reeves to be the face of the show as Jedi Master Soul, whereas the showrunner was dead set on casting Lee Jang-jae, and although he did a great job in the role and he even learned English in 4 months for it, so hats off to him for that, Lucasfilm clearly wanted a big star draw to the show that represents their first live-action project in the High Republic era.
Sorry, my friend.
And let's not forget, this is an era they've invested a lot of time into in recent years with novels and kids animated TV shows. In fact, I'm convinced they wanted the High Republic to be the focus of Star Wars stories in future. Lucasfilm wanted to attract more casual viewers with Keanu Reeves, and they didn't get that figured out. And they're probably putting some of the show's performance issues on that, and the creative differences with the showrunner. Anyways, this of course upset a lot of the show's fans that wanted to see the story that started in The Acolyte continue. Not only did the show introduce a host of new characters to the Star Wars universe, some of which being important to the overall Star Wars story, such as Master Soul, who showed us the beginning of the decay, which eventually leaves the Jedi Order vulnerable to the Sith in the prequels, and Darth Plagueis, which is a character fans have been calling to see on screen ever since he was mentioned in Revenge of the Sith in 2005. And then you got, of course, Plagueis' apprentice Kymir, who could just be a stepping stone to Palpatine, or he could splinter away from the Sith and start the Knights of Ren.
I have no name.
And you've got the whole concept of the twins teasing a potentially deeper look into the prophecy of the Chosen One. Whether you're a fan of the show or not, it did begin to tell a vital part of the Skywalker saga story that now needs to be elaborated on if you don't want that big hole left in the lore. Now, all of this resulted in the show's fans being very vocal online, with a petition being started to renew the show, which is currently standing at almost 58,000 signatures at the time of recording. And when you consider the online fan base only makes up a fraction of Star Wars fans,
The power of
that's pretty good going. Now, these signatures from almost 58,000 fans alone won't be enough to save the show. After all, the majority of the people that have signed it, I'd imagine have actually watched the show in the first place, and those numbers weren't enough. But what the petition and the noise the fans are creating online is doing is it's bringing awareness to the situation to fans that aren't aware of what's gone on, and even people who aren't fans of Star Wars, which in turn is resulting in them checking out the show from curiosity. And from what I can see, the majority of people now checking out the show are actually enjoying it. Something similar happened with a Netflix show called Manifest a few years back, where it was cancelled then renewed due to the increased interest the fans created. So although the number of signatures on a petition won't likely make a difference itself, if the show sees an increase in viewership and interest, then there's always a chance Lucasfilm's decision could be reversed. Whether we see the show renewed or not, I wouldn't say all hope is lost for fans that enjoyed it, with reports actually coming out recently a number of Star Wars shows are in development for Disney Plus right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see elements of it picked up and continued in other shows under a different title. Perhaps we could see a show that closely follows Kymir or his master Darth Plagueis. Regardless if the show is renewed or not, what direction would you like to see the Sith taken in during this part of the timeline next? As always, drop your thoughts, theories and wildest speculations down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and remember to subscribe to the channel to catch more of our Star Wars videos. Catch you in the next one. May the Force be with you. Peace.